This year, the college freshmen who just passed the entrance examination are so bold. They've been accepted and then simply give it up, directly refusing the universities. Shenzhen Polytechnic University, 29 students declined their acceptance letters. Guangdong Polytechnic College, 30 students withdrew their admission. The most outrageous case is Guangdong Baiyun University. 1,477 admitted students simply vanished. Nationwide, 5,000 admitted freshmen have simply escaped, and even undergraduate institutions haven't been spared. College students have figured it out. If your major isn't reliable, it's a waste of time. One netizen jokingly said, "I worked as a security guard to support my son's college education, and after he graduated, we became colleagues." Which university is your child attending? Polytechnic University. How many years of university? 4 years at least. Uncle, how much does it cost to raise a university student over those 4 years? Around 28,000 to 40,000. Uncle, what do you do at the construction site? I make door frames over $30 a day. There are so many college students these days, you're asked to pay to go to college. However, it doesn't matter if you don't. You can still work in a factory even if you don't have a degree, and you'll still work in a factory when you finish college. My fans, I really regret going to this university. Devastated, I realize it's completely useless. Because university tuition has soared again this year, whether it's public or private universities or even Sino-foreign joint ventures, tuition has increased significantly, with some seeing increases of several $1,000s a year. Universities are starting to collapse. These crappy universities, both private and public, are already going bankrupt. The undergraduate admission score in Guangdong province has dropped by 25 points this year, resulting in a shortage of 30,000 students. Many universities have no applicants. Parents are finally waking up. Getting your name on the admission list of successful candidates to be admitted to a university in today's society, this was once one of the 4 great joys of life in long times. But this year there's a strange phenomenon. A large number of approved university students are collectively refusing to attend school. We're not going to college. This is the conclusion we reached yesterday after discussing it with our child. When he received his acceptance letter 2 days ago, knowing how high the tuition was, he was surprisingly sensible. He washed pots and dishes and swept the floor. As parents, we all know how deeply guilty children feel. This acceptance letter has left both parents and child anxious. After discussing it yesterday, we decided not to attend this university. Actually, the moment we spoke it out, my kid felt like a weight had been lifted off, and he felt incredibly relieved. This lady's child also says that many of his classmates have turned down offers from private and even public universities. A few days ago, Guangdong Baiyun University announced that 1,477 freshmen have withdrawn from enrollment, exceeding 10% of the planned admissions. This is appalling. You can imagine that other similar schools aren't much better. Why? It's pretty simple. These private third-tier universities, you can get into them just by paying tuition, but they're not as good as many technical colleges. They are not only low quality, but also ask high tuition ranging from around $4,000 to $7,000 per year. Adding in living expenses, you'll be spending at least $34,800 over 4 years. Honestly, it's not worth it. More importantly, what career prospects can graduates from these schools have? If your future job is to screw the screws, you might as well start now. In the blink of an eye, it's the 2025 college entrance examination admissions season. Unexpectedly, universities across China have almost simultaneously experienced a sudden wave of rejections. According to incomplete statistics, over 50 undergraduate and vocational colleges in China have received explicit rejection letters from incoming students. Even worse, the acceptance rate at some schools is less than 60%. Some say a wave of university closures is upon us. Universities are starting to collapse, both private and public. These crappy universities are already closing down. The undergraduate admission score in Guangdong province dropped by 25 points this year, leaving the entire province short of 30,000 students. Even so, these universities still have no applicants. Guangdong Zhangjiang Institute of Science and Technology planned to admit over 7,000 students, but only over 1,000 showed up. Over 6,000 empty spots in 6 majors are left empty, and the cold wind can pierce through the halls. This isn't just a problem in Guangdong province, it's the same across the country. Parents and students are no longer foolish. The blogger points out that today's universities talk about education, but their eyes are only on profit. Ordinary people work tirelessly to support their children's education, only to find themselves facing the traps of unemployment upon graduation. That is to say, parents who pin all their hopes on sending their children to college have collectively given up, because the end of college is unemployment. At the same time, the collective increase in tuition fees at Chinese universities is also a major driving force. According to mainland media reports, in 2025, more than 20 provinces in China have raised university tuition, with average increases reaching 10 to 15%. Tuition increases at universities in Shanghai, Sichuan, and Jilin have reached 20 to 35%. Undergraduate tuition at Guizhou University increased from $696 to $905, a 30% increase. Yunnan University's tuition increased from $585 to $835, a more than 42% increase. Beijing University of Technology's tuition is approaching $1,253. Tuition increases at private universities of a lower level are even more severe. Annual tuition for undergraduate arts majors at Shanghai Zhangqiao University has reached $5,985, and tuition for broadcasting majors at Nanjing University of Media and Communications has increased by $1,392, bringing the total annual cost to nearly $7,000. Research organization Jigu Trends published an article stating that such high tuition fees are almost equivalent to 6 months to a year's salary for an average employee living in a second or third tier city. Comparing this with data from the National Bureau of Statistics of China, we see that the median per capita disposable income for urban residents in 2024 was $6,863, and for rural residents it was $2,729. This suggests that a single year of university tuition can wipe out the average family's annual salary. One netizen commented, "Not only tuition but also living expenses, textbook fees, and accommodation fees have all gone up. I don't know how parents can afford it all." Many migrant workers do the hardest and most tiring work, dedicating their hard-earned money to their children's education. This is an interview with migrant workers in southwestern Shandong province. "My youngest son is still in college in Hefei City. He must have spent a lot of money on his college education, right? Tuition and living expenses are around $7,000 a year, right? I heard that university tuition has increased by 50 to 60% this year. How can our migrant children afford to go to school? From last year to this year, I took out a loan for his tuition. Over 3 years, that's tens of thousands of yuan in loans. Yes, every year I take a $2,227 loan, and he says it's not enough for other expenses. I have to withdraw money from family savings." Many migrant workers toil hard on construction sites. They don't mind that they even spend tens of thousands of dollars to send their children to college. What hurts them the most is that thousands of graduates struggle to find jobs after graduation. Have you, who are from the class of 2025, found jobs? I'm really confused right now. It's the end of July and I still haven't found a job. My parents keep pushing me, but I have no solutions. The thing I regret most in my life is going to college. I finally got in, thinking all the hard studying would pay off, but I couldn't even find a job paying $696 a month. My diploma and degree have become nothing more than a piece of paper. I've become a complete joke in the eyes of others. Now I've emptied my family's savings, but the result is nothing but a diploma. I'm currently unemployed and at home. This situation is unacceptable to my parents. Both have worked their entire lives. Many college students have to work as delivery drivers. This is a video of a graduate breaking down and crying while delivering food. Many rural parents spend their hard-earned money to support their children's education. Their children strive hard and get into prestigious universities, which once brought pride to the family. However, now they have to return to the countryside after graduation. This is the unfortunate experience of a graduate from a 211 university, that is, a top 100 university. A few days ago, I posted a video saying that I graduated from a 211 university, couldn't find a job, and returned to my hometown. A lot of people are questioning me in the comments, saying, how could a 211 graduate not find a job? They seem to consider me as the one who is lazy or overambitious. I sent out numerous resumes many times, but ultimately received no response. The truth is, I just didn't get a good result. When I first graduated, I also thought about moving to a big city to try my luck. But after about 10 days or half a month there, it wasn't what I imagined. Plus, I went through some pretty nasty things, so I decided just to go back to my hometown and rest for a while. You spent 10 months giving birth to a child, 20 years raising him, $70,000 to $80,000 on his education, $1.4 million on a car and a house. And then, because you don't have the connections and can't find a job, your child says to you, "You don't have the ability, so why did you give birth to me?" Some netizens said, the investment for 4 years of college starts at $21,000 with no upper limit. Graduation often leads to unemployment, and even if a job is available, it typically starts at a low salary of $418 a month. Many graduates end up delivering takeout. The investment in a college degree is becoming less and less cost-effective, with hundreds of thousands of dollars invested in a worthless diploma. Jobs are still based on family background and connections. More and more families are becoming more sober in the current economic crisis. In recent years, many students have chosen to take the postgraduate entrance exam to seek a better job. However, 3 years later, the employment situation has worsened. This magic situation has led to a continuous decline in the number of applicants for the postgraduate entrance exam in China. In November 2024, data released by the Education Ministry of China showed that the number of applicants for the 2025 postgraduate entrance exam in China was 880,000, a decrease of 500,000 from 2024. Furthermore, the number of applicants has fallen for 2 consecutive years, falling below 4 million. This is the hurting experience of a graduate student. If I were given another chance, I would definitely not pursue graduate institutions. Back then, I gave up all my entertainment and devoted my most precious youth to studying for exams. I could have found a stable job at a large high-tech company with a monthly salary of around $700, but I wasn't satisfied with that situation. So after years of hard work, I finally don't have to work at a $700 a month job because I simply can't find any. My undergraduate classmates' salaries have all risen to $1,114 a month. Am I not working hard enough? Shay Tian, a professor at the Aiken School of Business at the University of South Carolina, said, "It's probably related to the employment situation. In the past, people believed that undergraduates had difficulty finding jobs. So many people said they wanted to continue their studies and get a master's. But now it seems that even employment for master's graduates is a problem." The 10-year Cultural Revolution caused severe cultural damage to Chinese society and a gap in talent and knowledge. Young students of that era were forced to stop their studies and work in remote, impoverished rural areas, neglecting their education. Even after returning to the cities, these youth were unable to attend university due to their lack of academic background. This is a scar in the hearts of many parents. After the Cultural Revolution, the college entrance examination became the primary path for children from ordinary Chinese families to ascend their social ladder, and was also the most equitable path available. Consequently, the vast majority of Chinese families would do their utmost to ensure their children receive the best education. For those from lower income families, no matter how hard or tiring the situation, as long as they can afford it, they would give everything they could. However, 3 years after the pandemic, everything in China has changed. For over 3 decades, the CCP has commercialized the education sector, extracting vast sums from Chinese families. Rather than investing in Chinese education, the party would rather use the people's hard-earned money to provide aid to Africa and support African students generously. Back then, Chinese parents believed that as long as their children had a good job, their investment was worth it. Now, with all the industries in recession and factories and companies closing in droves, it's difficult for graduates to find well-paying jobs, especially if they lack family connections. Well-paying jobs have gone to the children and relatives of CCP officials at all levels. Consequently, even the most hard-working and ambitious Chinese parents have woken up to a reality and are choosing not to send their children to college. Australian commenter Li Yuanhua told overseas Chinese media, "Everyone has now come to understand that instead of spending so much money on a worthless degree, it's better to save that money for their future. Many people can't even afford the tuition at regular public schools, let alone the high fees of private schools." In 2024, the CCP's foreign aid totaled $178.17 billion, surpassing the US to become the world's largest donor. Li Yuanhua said, "Another factor is the CCP's lavish spending, such as the massive investment in African students. Many of these actions are political, disrupting the entire education market. Coupled with its economic decline, I believe this industrialization of education could be halted at any moment and cease to exist. It's foreseeable that since the college dreams of Chinese parents and students have been shattered, China's education industry chain will soon be interrupted, and the avalanche of this industry is about to begin." That's all for today. If you enjoy our content, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, leave a comment, and share it with a friend. We appreciate your support, and we'll see you next time.